All right. Well, everybody, welcome back to the Five Things. Today we have Stephen Cuoco. Stephen is the founder and CEO of United Angels Dream, your second opinion resource company, Image Magazine International, Power 98.5 satellite radio. Stephen is a sought-after positioning expert for corporate companies and businesses who are looking to attract and build relationships with millennials and emerging generations. Stephen knows what emerging generations are seeking when they are inspired to spend, perform, and maintain long-term loyalty. Stephen can identify missed opportunities and design and implement strategic systems for incorporating new revenue streams and profit in current and emerging markets. Stephen provides his systems as a corporate entrepreneur, event planning, and producing book/magazine, entertainment, and music publicist. So, Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me.
So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about who you are. What's your business?
28 years going strong in public relations, entertainment, also medical. I've worked in the medical field, and there's really not an industry I haven't touched except for science, politics. I did a little bit of AI, so that was interesting to work with someone in the AI industry. And my main focus is entertainment, so music, reality TV, film. And now I just started with Warren Boxing Management. They brought me on as their media expert, or if you want to say media component. Mm-hmm. And I'm a huge MMA and boxing fan. So it's quite awesome that Alfie and Robert have given me the opportunity to be part of the media team with the Power 98.5 satellite radio station at Warren Boxing Management. And they're located in the UK.
Gotcha. Yeah. So how does that tie together with your satellite radio channel?
I can do live interviews, whether they have someone they're focusing on and they want to get them out there more, interview before match, after match, whatever type of content we're working on together and that fits into the radio aspect of it. That's what we're doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, of course, the podcast is, the 5 things about how you're reacting to this COVID-19 world that we all find ourselves in. So, does your business have any employees, direct employees?
I have an assistant part-time and an editor. So I use an editor when I need her. My Alicia, got to give a shout out to Alicia. But other than that, it's very self-maintaining. During this time in quarantine, I'm going to say I've learned how to do audio engineering, graphic design. I've now just started into film editing because I want to start doing my own promos. Right. And a couple of the other things we were talking about before I came on.
So are your employees, are they working virtually now?
Everyone's working from home. Everyone's virtual.
Right. Yeah. Right. So how do you find, I mean, obviously you're probably communicating via video chat, similar to what we're doing here.
Mostly phone, usually like phone or email. Yeah. I get a lot of submissions. I can't even tell you, Mike, how many submissions I've gotten. I've already got 4 interview prospects this week. And I look at that as something positive, but to really find someone that can work in this field and how on demand it is, whether it's in person or virtual, it's crucial.
Do you use any kind of software or anything like that to manage projects, or even manage, time, make sure people are actually working? Or are you one of those people very much like myself that give somebody a project, tell them when it's due, and really don't care how they get there?
That's where I'm at. Yeah. I have the people that I work with, whether I outsource or those that are close to me that work on my team, that are still independent contractors, I know what they're capable of and they produce all the time. To get at where and what I'm looking for though is very difficult. And I'm sure you can relate to that.
Right. Yeah. Having that person with the unique skills of being able to take a project, work on their own, and deliver it on time and done correctly, yeah, you got to sift through lots and lots of people to get there.
The one and done method.
Somebody once said, hire slowly and fire quickly. So, other than just the day-to-day work experience, how has COVID changed your business?
Oh, wow. Quite a few of my clients have no business. There's no music concerts going on, no music venues, no production for film and television. Everything is on a pause. My one client had to sell his $500,000 home, and now him and his son are living in an apartment.
Wow.
And he needed to take the money from the sale of his home to pay for expenses, keep his business running. I'm like, well, what about your rent? What's the landlord going to do? He's like, I haven't even had a conversation with him about that yet. But I'm sure by now he has. But yeah, it's real. The problems that are out there. The biggest thing of my concern and that I'm really working towards of trying to find a resolve, whether it be now or within 10 years, is the music industry. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of music artists that are not getting paid. They're not getting unemployment checks. It was over 80% full-time for them of touring and playing in gigs. And those that have a job or had to get a job, they still were in a pinch. A lot of them had to move home or get roommates. And so the entertainment industry in the area, when it comes to music, this pandemic hit it in a way to where no one was prepared. And no matter what resources are out there, Mike, nothing is equivalent to what these artists need.
And the thing about it is I think we all plan for the hiccups in life that come along, but we're now starting to work on month number 4 of complete shutdown. And you're starting to see large corporations are talking about this has got to change or we're going to have to lay off tens of thousands of people. And we're talking like Southwest. I just read that today. So, if large corporations are feeling it that hard, your small entrepreneurial, musicians you're probably talking about the type of musicians that are playing gigs at smaller venues, right?
These are what I call like up and coming music artists, to where there are even some Billboard charted artists.
Really?
That some people know that got hit bad.
Wow. Because there's just no venues.
Because there's you got to figure when it comes to royalties, unless you are signed with a major label, excuse me, more coffee, please. Unless you're signed with a major label, I'm assuming that's a whole different area. I'm not too familiar with unless I look over the contract, what exactly the preparations are for their job security or career security. But in general, no, the music artist, you're making what, a 0.0018th of a cent for a stream. You're making what on a download. So you got to figure artists make money off of sponsorships, whether it's clothing sponsorship, alcohol sponsorships. They're making money off of touring, booking, local venues, traveling. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars to be had in that. And it was completely wiped out. And now all they have left is their streaming royalties. But once again, that's 0.0018th of a cent.
So they get paid 18 cents for every 1,000 downloads.
0.0018th of a cent. It's a fraction. It's 18th of a cent.
Wow.
0.0. It's nothing.
Yeah,
you need to be having like millions of streams to be making something.
Gotcha. Wow. So, I mean, God knows how long this thing is going to go on, but how do you see business changing in the entertainment industry?
Oh, it's permanent.
Yeah,
no, go ahead, Mike.
Permanent, but what do you mean by permanent?
This is going to go for the rest of the year. I've already been told that from people, from producers and directors, even at venues that I'm trying to get some of the people that I'm working with. They're like, we're like constantly canceling. Yeah. There's just no way. And now we're planning for 2021. I don't know exactly where we're going to make out all of this, especially if there's a vaccine. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to take it. I don't even take the flu vaccine. And there's quite a few people I've spoken to that most likely won't take it. And even if there is, this isn't me being a pessimist. This is just the PR, just being objective. Look at all the problems people are finding in everything now and how they're constantly rebutting on the same topic over and over again, and there's no resolve. Yeah. Well, instead of focusing on a topic that has no resolve, why won't someone step up, whether it's the news, a company, medicine, whoever, step up and help with resolve? And people are getting frustrated. People are getting angry. I was out and about today. The frustration is real. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it through other people. Yeah, there's a comment I have for it, but I'm going to keep it very G-rated right now.
Well, I know just from, being here in Florida, most every city's got the mandate for masks. You cannot go into a business without a mask. Okay. And businesses, owners are actually having to coach their employees on how to deal with irate customers. And it's not the employee's fault. It's not the business's fault. So if it's happening here, I'm sure it's happening everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in, the tri-state, New Jersey, New York area. It's very extreme here. Holiday Hair just opened up recently and I was able to get a haircut, but I had my mask on the whole time. I did, so she could get around the ears. I did hold it.
Right.
I don't find the mask an imposition. That's not a problem for me. This pandemic, Mike, has not hit me hard the way it has other businesses because I've been in it for 28 years. I know how to self-sustain. Right. I know what is needed and what's required. I don't really have to outsource. I am not required to go and I don't need to buy a ton of supplies. Like, I'm the facilitator. I'm here to help make people's lives safe, easy, and to where it makes sense so they can go about doing what they need to do for their business. That's what public relations is all about.
So can you give me some ideas of how you're advising your clients on how to adjust to this new, I don't want to say new normal, but at least for the next 6 months or so, this new way of doing business?
Continue to create constant content, continue to engage with your clients, your fans, your customers. When you feel down and out and depressed, get in front of a camera, take your own photos. If you feel that you don't trust to have someone in your home, you don't trust to go to a studio. My representative is doing press for me for Power 98.5 and for my show Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco. And I need updated photos. So this week, like I've got a home studio I made. I'm going to go in front of the camera, turn the timer on, and I'm going to be taking my own photos and editing them for the news articles. Right. Got to improvise and know what you're going to do. I will say this, how it has affected my business in a way to where not only have my clients have lost tons of money and job opportunities, it's that my travel is ceased. Where am I going to go? What can we do? I'm hands-on. I've got filming equipment. I film behind the scenes content. I've got cameras. Like, I'm hands-on. I'm like, my clients and people know, let's get Steven on a plane. Let's get him a private car. Let's get him whatever he needs to get where he needs to go. Because I don't sit and tap, 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 tap on a phone or computer. I need to get in there because this is a people business.
Right.
But just to add in and backpedal a little bit, when it comes to long term, my main concern is where is business going to be at? Because most people don't think that they need public relations. They don't really understand. It's amazing how many people don't know what public relations is, what it entails, what it's about. They think it's just media placement, when that's only 1% of the 100%. 99% is all the back end stuff.
So you're talking about press releases, things like that?
It's I review from business cards to website to the font to the color scheme that's on your website. I break everything down psychologically because we live in a psychological world.
True.
And I need to know, how are people communicating with their clients subconsciously? And once again, that's presentation, that's business cards, that's websites, that's material, that's intellectual property, copyright material. It could be even t-shirts. Okay. What's your target market? Who's your audience? Who's going to buy that? But most importantly, why would someone buy that? And I always have a set of questions to help people think, because no matter what happens in this world, this thinking, let's get quick rich isn't a reality. I know there are tons of people on TikTok and online. I see it every day, Mike, online.
Yeah.
Invest, doing all these things. And I'm like, that's great. It works for you. But are you really considering, my number one question I have for anyone is, are you really considering the emotional, mental, and psychological, not just the financial, which is part of that, the whole kit and caboodle of trying to convince people to buy packages? And I see these things of buy a package on top, it leads to another package, leads to another package. And I'm like, it's easier to go to the store and buy eggs. And you walk out spending $2 instead of $50,000.
Yeah.
Packages.
Yeah. So when you're advising your clients now, because they've got a lot of time on their hands and they're not doing what they normally doing, but the best way to stay engaged is to create content. Where should they be publishing that content?
Well, the usual places: Instagram, TikTok. I enjoy TikTok. I think it's worthwhile. I've met a lot of creative, talented people on TikTok.
Right.
I would love to see the marketing and the dermatologist videos go away. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, why are you on a teenage platform? But I'm in an industry where I work primarily with Gen Z, millennials, and the young generation. So I've met a lot of amazing artists on there. I have the profile just so artists can find me, and they're calling me. They're going directly to my Instagram from my TikTok, and they're like, what do I do? How do I get started? I don't have anyone here to help me. I have a manager, but this manager is only doing this, or this manager wants me to pay for that. It's like, the lack of education and consideration has gotten very reckless and irresponsible right now during this pandemic. And I'm going to say there's a lot of opportunists and people who really don't belong in the world of business that are just outright putting money first and not people first.
Yeah, that's a short-term gain.
Well, I'm not going to be part of that karma.
Yeah, I get it. Now, I kind of knew you were going to go in the direction of TikTok, and I've done a lot of things with TikTok, but now, because it's a Chinese-owned company, and as we know, the Chinese government owns 51% of all the Chinese companies, there's starting to be some political pushback on TikTok. How do you feel about that?
I think that there's political BS in everything in this world. All the way down to going to the grocery store. And I've had people reprimand me by not following the arrows in the aisles. And I like keep my mouth shut. So to a certain point. But at the same time, I look at all these platforms and I see the positive of what they can do for us, but these platforms are not made for us. They are designed for their shareholders, stockholders, investors, and advertisers.
Gotcha.
Whether you want to look at Facebook, Instagram, any of these platforms, they're not designed for us. They're designed for them. They're money-making machines.
Gotcha. So really, I mean, for anybody who's an artist or a business owner looking at this, you're still, sorry.
It's all right.
Thought I'd shut that off. So, well.
That's why I left my phone downstairs.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is, TikTok's okay, but you really need to be on Instagram. You really need to be on YouTube. You really need to be on Facebook.
Exactly.
Consistently. Creating new content and publishing it consistently.
But also the content making sense. I mean, it's like, if someone's in an area to where they're pushing content just to put content for a numbers purpose, I think it's a waste of time. That's just my opinion. But if the content has validity to it, whether you get results from it now, 5 or 10 years from now, as long as, just like what you're doing, Mike, I'm sorry, as long as the content has a purpose, some type of educational purpose that can have no time limit on it, to me, that's worthwhile. But if someone's just making content out of content by filming themselves in a bathroom while their dog opens up the door, if someone thinks that that's worthwhile, great. I do my best not to have a judgment or being subjective on it.
Mhm.
But I have no problem if you want me to. Objectively, it's just the fact to be smart, to know that this is your reputation, this is your business. And, you know, even with the whole movement that's happening right now, that you know what's going on in the world,
Mhm.
people are going back all the way to the 1980s of content that was being published or shows, and they're removing it. And I think people really need to be smart that it doesn't matter if you think something's 20 years old. People are vigilante. They're in a mode of being a vigilante. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people who think that they've got a cell phone, they think they're journalists, and there's a responsibility that needs to go with that. And to hunt people down for stories, to hunt people down to you know, find a way to say you're doing wrong in this world, have a point to it. And I think that when it comes down to it, what I am seeing across the board all over social media, not
Mhm.
YouTube, but more on the social media channels that you know that we have instant access to.
Yeah.
I see a lot of vigilante behavior.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. What do you mean by vigilante behavior?
If someone feels that something has been done wrong to them, and let's take this Karen whole incident. How many times are we online and we see videos? I see purposeful videos of people putting themselves in a situation with middle-aged to older women to find a reason to call them Karen. I saw a video on TikTok to where a guy chased a woman down and started filming her at her house and in a driveway because she flicked him off. Why? Why chase after her? I mean, that could be some serious problems here.
Yeah, that can be some.
This is what I'm talking about, vigilante content.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about we've seen how businesses shifted because of this situation. Have you thought about any plans of once this thing eventually gets back to more to normal? Because this can't stay the way it is today.
No.
So how do we change our businesses going forward, to get away from that vigilanteism, or eventually things will start getting back, where people will be able to go out and work and socialize, and we can have more than, 10 people in a room. How do you see that affecting your business, and, what's your plan for that sort of change?
To answer that simply, and here's some things I wrote down to just because I had a feeling you were going to go there. One. All right. By putting people and businesses in the right direction and help to allow the business and person feel confident by what they know is absolute truth. What do I mean by that, Mike? Is when you help someone to know the direction in which they're going in, whether it's real estate, public relations, e-commerce, fashion, whatever it is, the number one thing is, what is your goal? What is your purpose? Is it money? Is it power? Is it recognition? Is it to get on Forbes top 40? What is it? Before you even start to work with a brand or a company or a person, what is the goal? Second, you basically have to gift or give security and safety. So let's say if I start working with you, Mike, my number one goal is to understand who you are, what's your narrative, what's your message, whether it be independent, a business, whatever. Who are you? What is your message? What is your narrative? And then what is the purpose? What is the idea of the goal that you're seeking in? And then for myself to apply, all right, where can we look for security? Because everyone is looking and needing security, whether pandemic or not, and where you feel safe to express yourself freely, to know that you've got the right staff on hand, to know that you can leave the office and go wherever you need to want, go with your wife to Fiji, and know that you are and your company's in a good, safe place, to where you're not going to have to come back and clean up someone else's mess to the best of the ability. That's number 2. 3, with the safety and security, it's priceless. There is no price tag you can put on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think during this time and moving forward, something we've desperately needed since the 1980s is, if you look at the way of marketing was back then, if you didn't have the big house, you were low class. If you didn't drive a fancy car, you were poor. If you did not wear certain clothes, you were scum or a bum or trash or whatever. Like, that's the lingo from back then in the 80s.
Right.
And that's changing. And I think what's happening right now, from the Black Lives Movement to what's happening with social media to how, Facebook is losing $7 billion, people are just realizing that the younger generation is not going to put up with the way we grew up, to where everything is identified by situations and circumstances through materialistic things, through power and money that are outside of ourselves. They want real community. They want real knowledge. They want real partnerships. And in order to have that, you got to do the opposite. So once again, it's the safety and security, and that's what they're understanding. Number 4 is, how many people or businesses will put you first and not the bottom line or money or their own hidden agenda? We are very transparent right now. Everyone is, whether they're seen online or not. And we are in a very much a vulnerable place, to where one word, one sentence, one eye language or body gesture or whatever it may be is going to, because we're so hypersensitive right now, give off a certain theme of intent. And the number one question is what's intent? And if you come to the table organic, authentic, with no hidden agenda, and just be transparent, you're not going to have the BS. And I think finally, do I have a number 5? No, I think I covered all that. So once again, sum it up. Know the intention, have good intention with the people that you're working with. Be transparent. Understand and know that the number one job, no matter what anyone has or what they're looking for in life, is safety and security. And lastly, just be priceless. Just know that you are the one and only commodity, and how you come to the table, how you come to the office, how you, even me approaching this interview, is what we're going to get out of it. And it's not so much about me, it's about you, because my responsibility is about Mike Grady. My responsibility is the 5 things. My responsibility is to pay attention, to know by putting your listeners first. I don't see this as a platform for me for bragging. I have no desire to brag. I don't see this as a platform. And I get this a lot in media, to where, I don't mind if the topic is about me, but I want to get quickly on and get quickly off. And let's talk about, how can I take 20 years of knowledge and help you to help the people that are going to be watching you?
Exactly. So that being said, for somebody that's watching this particular podcast, can you boil it down into probably the most important thing that you could do to help most businesses?
Listen
to your customers, listen to your employees, listen to what's going on.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's what I've been doing. Like I said, I've got 4 calls today of 4 prospects. 2 came from LinkedIn. 1 came from Instagram, and the other one came from TikTok. And they just want to see what I have to say, find out if there's any space for them to bring them on as a team, or if there's a way that I could facilitate by maybe finding out if someone else could use their set skills. I'm always open to listen to someone.
So if somebody's watching this podcast on our social media and they wanted to contact you, how would they do it?
908-329-5131. That's my phone number. Or go to Stephen Cuoco, take my name, add a .com, or take my name at gmail.com.
Nice. So my last question for you before we wrap up is, and I always kind of surprise people with this one, but what can I do for your business? What does your business need that I might be able to give your business?
I like that question. I'm going to say I'm always advertisers. for the satellite radio station. My goal is, once again, for the music artist. So it's not that I need the money, that I want the money. Power 98.5 is not your traditional satellite radio station. I've learned from the big dogs out there, and I'm doing the opposite of what they're doing. My goal for the station is where your voice matters. That's the tagline. And right now, even with learning about stocks and what we were talking about before this, is
Sure.
I want to try to figure out a way to help solve a problem and to keep it a little bit on the wraps until, till the big, sometimes, like the big aha, here we are.
Right.
I want to be able to leverage resources, connections, and it doesn't have to even be financial, to something that takes me from here and gets me there, because the bigger picture is, what is the legacy that I'm leaving? And it's not about me. It's about what did I do, or to share, or what I say, share it forward. I'm not into that pay it forward. So I changed it to share it forward, so that people can remember, okay, this is who Stephen Cuoco is. These are his morals, his goals, his ambitions, his passion. This is what he's done. This is what he taught. And either I can use this as an inspiration and apply it to my life, follow it, whatever you want to do, or not. I just want to be able to leave a story behind, so someone can have, if not to read it, to hear it, to see it. And that's what your podcast is all about, the 5 things.
Right.
We're creating a book, a video, audio book here.
Yep. So anyway, Stephen, a lot of great answers. You gave our viewers a ton of great information. Just want to say thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too, Mike.